Yo, what's good? I'm just gonna go for another recap. Today I actually ended up taking a trade, which ended up losing, but should have been a break even. But my fill was really bad. But still, I think when I look back on it, I still should have gone break even though it was quite tight. So, anyways, I'll go over just the thought process in general before open. So basically, we're just displacing higher, and we're on the 4 hour. You can see clearly, if we can just load it, that we're disrespecting bearish and just printing bullish. And then if we go down to like lower time frames, we're respecting bullish. So in general, I'm leaning more bullish towards this intermediate term high within the daily fair value gap. Even though this is technically a high resistance versus high resistance scenario, because you've got this low coming out of the monthly and then this high coming out of the daily. So again, it's more about playing conditions. So what we do have coming into open is 2 4-hour fair value gaps lower, which can either be used as targets, because there might be kind of an argument to possibly rebalance the range coming into open, since we're so high in the range. But I do think with how much we're displacing, I was preferring bullish. So at open, what we did have was this 30-minute condition. Now, this is not something I was going to trade lower off of. It was more just to gauge order flow to see whether we would want to maybe respect this and then go lower to the unmitigated 4-hour and then maybe get a trade off of that to take to the highs. Jesus, it's really glitchy today, and again, that's why my fill was so bad. I don't know what was up with my trading view and trade evade today, but anyway, so yeah, basically to respect this 30-minute condition to maybe take a trade off the 4-hour, or again, as what it was at open, is we're completely disrespecting this 30-minute condition. So potentially he was looking for a continuation trade to the highs. What we ended up actually getting was there's an hourly fair value gap with this intermediate term high here, which we end up coming up and sweeping and getting some sort of a setup out of that, and it just dumps lower to this 4-hour unmitigated, which is actually quite good because we've got this low resistance leading up to it. So this does make this technically quite a good trade. I wasn't personally expecting it. It's so far on the left, and again, we're so bullish that I don't see why we wouldn't go straight to this high within the daily fair value gap. Again, there's kind of some sort of low resistance up here. I don't know. I just didn't seem like a comfortable trade. But off that, what I was personally looking for was, once we get this displacement lower, that we could possibly take a continuation down to the 4-hour fair value gap. Again, we're glitching like crazy. Just wait. Yeah, so down to the 4-hour fair value gap. That would have actually been the most ideal scenario, but again, we didn't get anything in relation to that. What I ended up taking though, so after all this happened, so obviously we go up here, we go lower, I decided to take a trade off of this 4-hour fair value gap. There was a tiny bit of structure, nothing crazy, with a 5-minute agreed upon DOL. Basically, we got a 15-minute inversion, and it was supposed to be a break even at the 5-minute to either go straight higher or again take it out. But basically, here's just to draw the scenario so that when we're reviewing it, it makes sense. I got filled like here, so it was just like to go break even. It was, or even higher, I don't even know. It was like somewhere like here. It was just so close to my entry that I didn't, and then I ended up getting stopped out. So let's just look over it, and then I'll review what could have been better, what could have been worse, and we'll just follow through just on what happened at open. Again, we're glitching, so this is just a very slow recap, but again, there's nothing wrong with going slow. We can just chill with it. I'm a bit tired after this trading week because, again, I'm working a lot of hours and I'm kind of coming onto the charts quite tired. So coming into the open, again, as I said, I wanted continuation. So again, we're disrespecting this 30-minute. We don't need to have it on the chart. This 15-minute was something I was looking at to take a continuation. But I don't think we don't get anything into that. New York just goes lower into this 5-minute, but again, this is just with the 15-minute. With the 15-minute below, I was going to put it here just to make it more visible. 15-minute below here, there's just nothing to take, and I don't think there was any inversions anyways. So again, I don't really know how you could catch any move higher. So we hit this intermediate term high inside of the hourly fair value gap. So here, you could potentially be looking for a setup with kind of the highs generated here before the 15-minute as an agreed upon DOL. But the structure for me is just not something I'm taking any day of the week. Again, I'd rather, unless there was something here. Okay, maybe potentially if there was a 15-second or 30-second within here, you could possibly have taken something, I would say. That probably looked it, but again, I would imagine you're hitting this 1 minute before that form, so I wonder if there was anything valid. That might be interesting to check later. But I think but for me, I didn't see it. I was nearly thinking that we were kind of edging this and maybe we would get a continuation. But what ends up happening is we just dump. So once this dump started happening, I realized, okay, shit, we're coming out of this 1 hour ITH. And then on ES at the same time, we inverse a 5-minute fair value gap. So again, I'm kind of good on that front to take even 4-minute, 3-minute continuations. I wouldn't take any 2 minutes or 1 minute, but again, that's kind of just discretional. But again, ideally, a 5-minute fair value gap gets formed here. I'll just draw out the ideal scenario. So ideally, it's a 5-minute. It gets formed here, and then maybe even we edge these lows or something would be even cool, or even the 15, even better. But that's just not going to happen. We get nice and low resistance built up. We head into the 5-minute, get our setup, and then we take it lower towards the unmitigated 4 hour. This didn't happen though. So again, I think at this stage, once the high probability scenario of us, retracing into a 5-minute, like even when we get this 5-minute and we just don't retrace back into it, I think I should have been off, to be honest, because the high probability scenarios have already played out. I wanted it to go higher. It goes higher as manipulation. Then I want to see it going lower. I want a continuation, but then it hits our DOL. So realistically, that's 2 moves that after playing out, I don't think a third move is ever high probability. Plus, now when you look at this high, it's high resistance. It's coming out of that hourly intermediate term high, and it's displacing very fast away from that. Also, the daily in general, the ITH in the daily is already high resistance. So again, Mech is valid, and we get that. So 2 5-minute fair value gaps. So yeah, as a Mech, it's valid, but again, we're just displacing so heavily into this 4 hour. We've also got another massive 4 hour below, so that's just something else to always keep in mind, anyways. And then just this high is so high resistance. So again, targeting that is it's again, you need your stop loss protected, which we technically do because it's hitting the 4 hour, but you also need your take profit not to be protected as this anyways, ideally. So this is actually the second time this week I've made this mistake, so that's something worth noting. Sorry, I think we're good. So that's something worth noting. So basically the idea was in here we get a 15-second. Now I said that there was an accumulation manipulation, which we do get this nice stop hunt. Again, we're glitching. It's just nice. But again, there's no harm in going slow. So we get this stop hunt into the key level, and then a 15-second inversion in here. And then we've got this 5-minute agreed upon. Agreed upon. And then, yeah, same above. We don't need to put it up on the thing. Again, what ideally would have been happened is I actually get in whenever the 15-minute happens. I could even squeeze just about a 1-to-1 maybe out of it. And no, we wouldn't even got that. But again, break even should have been. So the second we hit this 5-minute, that's break even. However, I was filled way up here, and I didn't see the point in going break even. But when I'm looking at this now, we've hit this 5-minute now. What is that 5-minute defending? High resistance. This 5-minute is most likely going to take out your stop loss. That's the most likely thing that's going to happen, because we've got it's defending high resistance. If that 5 minutes defending low resistance, like, be my guest, that is, don't go break even. But even so, even though I got filled so bad, at least reduce your risk to where maybe above the inversion, and then you could take a small baby loss. But so ideally, if we're just talking about the trade idea, I was going to take it up to here. So that should have just been break even, but we take the full loss on that one, so that's just not fun. And that's basically it. So what's wrong and what's right with the trade? So the trade is targeting high resistance. What else is no obvious accumulation. There's no obvious accumulation. I would say before manipulation. I'm just going to put this in for myself. It's targeting HR, so SL protected, TP also protected. So then I would say this is pretty much the same point as the previous one, but agreed upon DOL, defending high resistance. Okay. I think they're the main things that are wrong with this trade. But again, even with that, it's still a break-even trade. It's not the worst trade I've ever taken, but to be honest, I was pissed after it. I think it's because I waited out one idea, two ideas, just not providing an entry. And again, I kind of forced this. Oh, and another thing is the time of this as well. Hourly candle opening in 5 minutes. So again, that's another reason for me to get stopped out, because the hourly candle is likely to manipulate. But again, if you go break even, I don't think these things are really that big of an issue. But again, I just want to start taking more high probability setups, because quite frankly, I'm sick of fucking losing. Anything happen for the rest of the day? I think that's most of the main shizman is. I believe we do hit this 4 hour, or we don't. We still respect this one. So I wonder if there was something within this, probably. You can imagine a 15 minute. After taking these lows, 15 minute, what do we've any agreed upon? Now here's probably another version of this trade, but maybe slightly better. So 5 minute agreed upon. I don't know why I'm writing the whole thing, but okay. Yeah, this looks better, because we've got at least some sort of failure swings. Imagine we get a 15-second or something. Damn, that's a good one. And then you would probably be break even, because what else would you be targeting? Is there 15-minute above? Douche. No. 5 minute. I mean, you could probably target, like, say, this just for or reasons. Let's see if you would have got... I mean, I can't even see if there's a 15-second, but I'm just presuming there was something in here. You know, where you can just tell by structure whether there is. So you could have probably at least got a 1-to-1 out of that if you're targeting that, would have played out. Yeah. So that's a better trade. It's basically the same idea. But again, I guess it's more just like this liquidity, and like you're technically still using this as a key level, even though it's like how many points below. So it's probably not that valid. Also, just quite late in the session, but it does have the 15-minute power of 3 on its side. So let's see if that 15-minute candle is not open here. Oh, it is open here. So we have the 15-minute candle manipulating lower, sweeping out this low. Obviously getting some sort of inversion, and now you're in line with that 15-minute candle. You're in line with this 1 hour candle, and you're in line with this 4 hour candle. So we're stacking power of 3, which we actually didn't have with this setup. We only had the 30-minute market open candle and the 9:45 candle and 5 minutes before the hourly. So you know, you didn't have that extra PO3 on your side, so you have all these candles on your side, and then again it just works out. Interesting. So there's a lot to review. I might, but on Sunday or something, do a review of like all my trades in the week, a bit of the price action, go over my main lessons that I've picked up and what I'm planning on improving on for the week. So I hope you enjoyed this. So 3 losses this week. We've a lot to learn. Anyways, have a good one. Peace.